got lots to talk about with UFOs today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, okay, to start with, here's what NORAD's commander just told us about the Langley Air Force Base drone incursions. And of course, we know it goes further than Langley. So what did the commander of NORAD say to the war zone? Well, he didn't say much. The only thing I can tell you about the Langley drones is roughly the number and roughly the altitude. That's all he said. He did not elaborate. Okay, well, thanks for nothing, I guess. However, earlier this month, Air Force General Mark Kelly told the Wall Street Journal that at least one of the drones was roughly 20 feet long and flying at more than 100 miles an hour at an altitude of roughly 3,000 to 4,000 feet. Other drones followed, one by one, sounding in the distance like a parade of lawnmowers. A parade of lawnmowers. Now I want to see a parade of lawnmowers. That sounds like fun. But yeah, are there, small drones that are 20 feet long? Or is that like only within the realm of, the military sort of thing? And aren't those used for like bombing and, shooting at things? The longer drones? If you know of, spy drones that would be 20 feet long, let me know. Either way, if these things are 20 feet long and they have blinking lights all over them, clearly they're not your run-of-the-mill drones that, just equipped with a camera or something to spy on an Air Force base. So whatever these objects were, not your run-of-the-mill drone. And they also made no effort to be subtle or to disguise themselves. And there were a bunch of them over a period of time, and not just at Langley, but other places as well. So yeah, what were these things? Are they still buzzing Air Force bases and other military installations? I would be very curious to find out. Meanwhile, Boeing's decay continues. Boeing's satellite falls apart in space. A communications satellite manufactured by U.S. company Boeing broke into at least 20 pieces while in orbit over the weekend, disrupting use from users across multiple continents and littering the skies with giant pieces of space junk. Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole article, but what the hell is going on with Boeing? They have been having a series of problems in their equipment. They have whistleblowers coming forward to talk about these problems that then commit suicide. So, what's going on there? What the hell is going on with Boeing? If you have any ideas, let me know. Is it simple mismanagement and corruption kind of stuff? They're putting the money elsewhere. What's going on? What's going on? I don't know. Either way, Sean Kirkpatrick is now back in the media. The lovely, lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick is now saying there's a UFO crash retrieval program. What? Does Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely, just admit there's UFOs? And just admit there's a UFO crash retrieval program? When I saw this article in the Daily Mail, I was excited. The Pentagon's former chief UFO investigator has revealed a sensitive new government program to recover alleged alien tech in the event of a shootdown. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick admitted to the program's existence when pressed during a new interview. The retrieval program's protocols were for any UAP recovery involving everything from balloons to drones to alleged alien tech, he told podcast host John Michael Gaudier. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Either way, and he talks about how there's already programs in existence to, retrieve down craft and the problems with, multiple programs designed for similar operations. But no, he does not admit that there are alien craft. He's talking about simple crash retrievals of potentially unidentified objects, but he's not going to say alien. He's not gonna go there. He didn't suddenly turn a new leaf and decide that, yeah, UFOs are real and that aliens are flying around in our skies. Of course, in secret, he seems to be reverse engineering UFOs, and he seems to have had a lifetime of working with the control group, and I've gone over that in multiple videos. He's had a career in the spooky sciences. So, yeah, you tell me what you think Sean Kirkpatrick is up to, but yeah, he didn't suddenly turn a new leaf. And meanwhile, we have Lou Elizondo still talking about the fear-based stuff involving UFOs. Here he's asked a question about abductions.
As far as the abductions, you know, I don't know what to tell you because I've never been abducted. I've had some people that swear by it, but you know, you can't have a conversation about abduction and then say, "Oh, they're here for peaceful reasons." It doesn't work that way.
Do you believe them, the people that swear by it?
I believe that they are being truthful, that that experience they feel is real. I don't think they're lying. But the question is, you know,
did it happen? Is the question?
Yeah, I can't say because I wasn't there. But I can tell you that we definitely have people that have had experiences where they are now on U.S. government full medical disability in right. As far as
they're on disability for injuries suffered from being close to a UFO, which does happen. These are hazardous technologies, and if you get close to them, you can be injured by them. There's multiple examples of that. However, that does not seem to be intentional on the part of the beings. Which isn't to say that all ET activity is benevolent, but an awful lot of it does seem to be, or at least neutral. Ryan Bledsoe has some things to say about Lou's take on things. Before I get to that, I did want to point viewers to the interview I had with Mary Rodwell on the channel a few months ago. Highly recommend that. She has a much more optimistic take on abductions. So yeah, I highly recommend you check that out, and also some of the wider lore and experiences that are available from experiencers that are having more positive encounters with the phenomenon, or at the very least, very mixed encounters. You know, like Whitley Strieber goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. He's had very negative encounters, and he's had transcendent, amazing encounters. So you know, there's you know, it's hard to figure. The phenomenon isn't easy to decipher, but there's a lot of positivity in it, and I'm not real happy with Lou Elizondo continuing to beat the drum on the threat narrative. I think that is doing more harm than good, especially since so much of this stuff is consciousness related or consciousness dependent, such as my own experiences, which I've gone over before. Here's Ryan Bledsoe, son of Chris Bledsoe, talking about why he is unhappy with Lou Elizondo.
But then on the other hand, Lou Elizondo, who has interacted with my dad in private, in person, and says, "Chris, you know, we believe you. We have your back. What you're doing is so important," and all this blah, 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 blah. And then publicly acts like he barely even knows us and acts like he can't substantiate we're telling the truth. And then writes a book and goes and says that there are certain color orbs that are evil and they'll kill you, so stay away. You know, and we could go on and on and on about the government agenda and how they act to us in private, and then how they talk about this stuff in public. And they're not congruent, which is why I say what I say about the government and their agenda.
Okay, yeah, well, of course, Lou isn't the only person talking about the various colored orbs and how, I think it's the blue meanies that are the bad ones. I think Jim Simivan and others have also talked about that, how they have noticed that it is the blue ones that give, I mean, you know, there's all sorts of, several different sorts of medical harm that they have caused people. Serious medical harm. However, Ryan Bledsoe is saying, you know, maybe that's not the case. Maybe, you know, that has been overblown, or people are misinterpreting it, or maybe they're pushing a false agenda. Then maybe there's some blue orbs that are perfectly benevolent or at least neutral. I would love to know the truth on that. Are all orbs... What are orbs, first of all? Are they other dimensional vehicles? Are they beings? Some of one and some of the other? Something totally different. And, I believe there are various categories of orbs, and I've gone over, my categorization system. I think there is somebody else that has their own categorization system. It's really interesting, the various kinds of orbs and how they interact with people, sometimes very positively and sometimes, sadly, negatively. So it would be great to get to the truth of that. But there you go. There's Ryan's take on some of the things that Lou Elizondo has said. I don't want to come out as a Lou hater. I love Lou. We wouldn't be here where we are without Lou. But it alarms me that he is spreading fear of the phenomenon, and I think that is doing a lot more harm than it is good. I get it to a certain extent, especially in the early days, because we are dealing with the Pentagon, and it is their job to defend us. If there's not a threat, they can't defend us against it. So how can you get any of these programs funded? But I think we are past that now, and we need to stop beating the drum on the alien threat narrative, and we need to deal with it logically and rationally, and that is recognizing that it is consciousness related or dependent in many cases. And we need to get our consciousnesses in the right place to interact positively with the phenomenon. So yeah, keep your vibes high, go into it with love and light, and you'll probably have a much better experience than otherwise. But speaking of people talking about their experiences, I'm going to give you 3 examples of well-known people that are coming out talking about their experiences. Very, very interesting. Tucker Carlson just came out talking about being attacked by a demon. That's right, or so he says, so he believes, although it does leave some wiggle room. There could have been something else. But he was attacked while he was sleeping in bed beside his wife. He was attacked by something that left claw marks on his skin under his armpit that was still bleeding when he woke up. I can't play the clip with sound because there's music in the background, but I'll just read the subtitles. The host asked him, a spiritual attack by a demon? Yeah, by a demon. Or by something unseen that left claw marks on my sides. That's right, Benny. Claw marks. Yeah, a year and a half ago. Was your wife terrified? I know you were. I was totally confused. I woke up, couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to suffocate. As I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder. He goes on to describe it in more detail, but there you go. Tucker Carlson going on record publicly that he was attacked by something he believes was demonic. Potentially. He does seem to leave room open for it not to have been strictly demonic, which I think is good. I don't think it's good to interpret the phenomenon in strictly religious terms. The religion, to my mind, is a framework built around true metaphysical events and a true metaphysical reality. But different religions interpret it in different ways, even though multiple religions may have the rooting in reality or some reality. They don't all go with each other. And yet the phenomenon is real, and it can be interpreted in these different ways, which I think is super fascinating. That way, I don't think it's super helpful to adhere to any particular framework or religion. But hey, that's just my take. Let me know your take in the comments below. Meanwhile, while I feed Benny, Kurt Jamongol is going to tell us about his own incredible experience. Kind of another scary experience.
Well, I had some experience. I won't go into it here. And it's not a phenomenon. Well, maybe. I don't think it's a phenomenon experience where I had to send myself to the hospital because I was typing and then I wasn't typing. And something said to me, yeah, you thought you were the one that was in control. And it was using my fingers, whatever it was. And I was freaking the heck. And then it said, maybe the crazy ones aren't crazy. Implying, that.
So that happened to you?
Yeah. And that was, and I like even talking about it now works me up a bit. So anyway, I called the hospital just to say, you have to come get me because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not suicidal in the least, but I don't know, like, why would I? And anyway, I went downstairs. I remember the police came first and I told the police officer, I'm not going to try and grab your gun, which already freaks the police officer out.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have led with that, Kurt, but again, I'm impressed that he's willing to go on the record talking about this possible possession or something where some spirit entered him and was riding through him and manipulating his body. I actually have a buddy of mine where that happened over an extended period of time. He noticed that his behavior started to change, and he would sit down writing, and just like with Kurt, words that were not his own came out of him, and he started realizing that the words he was writing was the life story of somebody else, actually a female in that case. And yeah, it was like the spirit of a woman had entered him and wanted to tell her story through him. Very interesting. Eventually, he separated himself from that being and has moved on. But yeah, Kurt's story reminds me of that story. Really weird how that seems to be a thing that can happen. Doesn't seem like something that anybody would want to happen. And again, I salute Kurt for being willing to talk about this. Garry Nolan has also talked about some of his own experiences. He is an experiencer. He woke up with beings in his bedroom as a child, and it's very likely that he's a lifetime experiencer. He saw a UFO as an adult, so this has continued on into adulthood. And he also has more consciousness or metaphysical experiences. Let's give a listen to part of this experience here.
I had, I'll just say this is something I haven't talked about ever publicly before. I had an experience in London once that I still don't understand to this day. It was like, I don't know why this always happens at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's hilarious, but for a lot of people. And I woke up and my whole body was just pulsing with like some sort of electric fire, like nothing I'd ever felt before. And feel it, but hear it and feel it from the tip of my toes to my fingers, whole body. And right as I woke up, it wasn't even words. It was more like but it was clear. It was the words, "This is how you connect."
I think that's an incredible experience. It reminds me a lot of some of Whitley Strieber's experiences where he wakes up every night, I think at 3 a.m. to meditate. And the reason he does that is because the phenomenon told him to and is leading him to do it. And if he doesn't wake up at 3 a.m. to meditate, the beings will wake him up and prompt him to meditate. And this is how you connect, as Garry Nolan says. So should we all be waking up at 3 a.m. to meditate? Is this how we connect? Is this what we're supposed to do? I like to be asleep at 3 a.m. Lately, I'm feeding Benny at 3 a.m. So maybe I could take that opportunity to meditate. But what about you guys? Do any of y'all wake up in the middle of the night to meditate? For those of you that have you noticed any benefit in doing that versus meditating during the daytime? Either way, I wanted to share with you those 3 experiences, talking about more woo-woo experiences. Kurt Jamongle, spirit possession, or whatever that is. Garry Nolan, this, I don't know if it didn't sound exactly like a Kundalini event, but something very powerful happening to him. His whole body and this message, this is how you connect. And of course, Tucker Carlson talking about a potential negative entity attack, I'll say, that left bleeding claw marks on his skin. Meanwhile, I've shared this clip before about Danny Sheehan talking about UFOs off of Baja, but I wanted to share the first segment of it, the first few seconds of it again, because I didn't really go over that part of it. And I think that's significant if what he says is real.
They deployed an entire carrier group down off...
A carrier group?
Yeah. The Nimitz carrier group, they deployed it down off the Baja to monitor the site down there. There's an underwater base for sure.
Okay, so he's saying in 2004, the Tic Tac event, that the whole carrier group was dispatched there for the specific reason of monitoring that underwater UFO base. Now, I would love to get some corroboration on that. that is certainly not the story that we've heard today, right? From the participants, Commander David Fravor and all those guys. Kevin Day, nobody has mentioned that the reason why the carrier group was dispatched was to check out this UFO base. We were told they were going to do some drills, right? Had all been building up to some drills that never really happened because of the UFOs. So what is the truth? Of course, I wouldn't expect, everybody in the carrier group to know what the, Admiral's orders were. So, we really wouldn't have to hear from the higher ups, I guess, before we knew the truth of why the Nimitz carrier group was sent to that part of the sea. But was it to spy on a underwater UFO base? That's pretty juicy, Danny. That's pretty juicy. Big if true. Big if true. I want some corroboration on that, though. I want some corroboration. So let me know if you guys ever see any corroboration, because that is a pretty wild claim. You know what else is pretty wild? This guy's ankles. This guy's ankles are legit. Okay, let me know what you think about this guy's ridiculously strong ankles and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members really are rock stars, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out. I could totally do that.